As many of us try hard to change our habits when it comes to recycling correctly, do any of us actually know what plastics can and can't go in the recycling bin? Well, Sophie Solaria has been to meet some people on one street in Peterborough as they get to grips with their waste.
I keep my shelf here full of things that I'm not sure about and then last minute tend to ditch them in. So netties, not sure. Foil, not sure. And big moisturising tubs. Not sure.
What's your problem with that?
With this, it seems to be a lot of different plastics, and also I think there's moisturiser in it, so how clean does it need to be?
I'm really not sure about this. Before I would have put it straight in because it's plastic, but it looks a bit odd, and I'm wondering about whether to put this in my recycling bin.
I wasn't sure about the bubble wrap, whether that can go in the recycling or whether it needs to go in the landfill bin.
Like many of us, the residents of Thorpley Road in Peterborough are confused when it comes to recycling. Last year, only half the plastic that could have been recycled in the UK actually was. It seems that many don't know what to do.
I think I'm a very good recycler, but I get confused with items like these.
Why?
Because this is dark, and this one's got a label, a picture, and it's clear.
But help is at hand for the residents of Thorpley Road. They're going to get a recycling masterclass, and the person to do it is here, conveniently in the centre of Peterborough. Her name is Hitch, and she works for RECOUP, a national plastic recycling charity based in the city.
Well, RECOUP ideally are here to try and make sure that maximum amount of plastics are recycled. So that means just working with the brand owners to make sure that their packaging is simple to recycle, right through to educating consumers, which we're doing today, because we hear so often that they are confused.
So why do you do this then, Anne? Why is it important to recycle?
It's important to recycle because plastic has already been manufactured once. It's an oil-based material. So ideally, if that goes back into the system, it can make new products. Your local authority is able to use that resource, and all the money that they're able to get from that is able to go back into that local authority purse, so everyone benefits.
RECOUP have just completed their latest survey of recycling. The good news is we're putting more plastic out for collection. Last year, over 500 tonnes were collected from UK households. That's almost a 3% increase on 2016. But the average household uses nearly 500 plastic bottles a year, yet only recycles around 300 of them, meaning 200 bottles are not collected for recycling. Time for Anne to meet our residents, to see if she can help them sort their bubble wrap from their food trays.
So with this biscuit box, on the back it says that the box can be recycled, that's quite obvious. And then this black plastic tray,
Yes.
it says check local recycling, but I don't know
Right.
how I would do that or what the answer is.
You're lucky because in Peterborough you can recycle black. And your bubble wrap is a no.
That's for landfill.
That's it. So that we would take that out. Black, not in all areas, but most coloured bottles and trays can go in. This food tray here, generally we'd ask that that be scraped, clean and dry.
Yeah.
Normally we would ask that this thin film lid stuff that is taken off and put in the general waste bin.
Really?
Yeah, and then this can go in.
You know, actually, they're not too bad as a street when it comes to recycling. They've done a lot of things right, but they still got confused by the items that are confusing, like this net, bubble wrap. I never know what to do with bubble wrap. And then on top of that, it changes depending on where you live. So each local authority has their own recycling rules, which you then have to check for yourself.
This is not as simple as I was hoping it to be. And Sarah still has questions about her moisturiser bottle, which seems to have left both her and Anne stumped.
This is an odd one, because we would normally say that if it's a pump lid, that the pump lid you would separate away from the bottle and you would recycle the bottle and not the pump lid. However, I can't see any indication on the bottle or the lid. I would recommend that we take this to a plastics recycling facility and we see how and if this can be detected.
Great idea. Thank you, Anne. We're going to take Sarah to a state-of-the-art recycling centre to find out what to do with the problem bottle.
Morning.
Good morning.
You ready for our big day?
Very ready.
Only thing is, it's a lot further away than we'd expected.
Do you have any idea where we're off to?
No. I thought it might be just 10 minutes or so away, but I'm seeing from your sat nav it's about an hour 56.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour drive.
Yes, the recycling plant is 2 hours away, in Rochester, in Kent, where a lot of the plastic from the east of England ends up. This is because there's only a handful of these special plastic recovery facilities in the country. And Rochester is the closest to us. Finally, Sarah and I arrive at Viridor recycling plant, where we're greeted by Ed Sarasketta, the site manager.
Hi, I'm Ed.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Right, shall we go in and have a look at the facility?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. So as you can see, you've got a real mix of colours, polymer types, completely mixed up, and our job is then to take each of those bales, separate it, run it through the plant and separate out all the different polymer types so that we can then send it on for recycling and create that kind of circular economy.
It's so loud inside this plant, but what you can see here are 121 conveyor belts, which are sorting the plastics into types. The plant can then generate up to 350 bales of plastic per day. And if you think one bale alone can contain over 17,000 bottles, that's a lot of plastic.
We effectively take any plastics that you put into your recycling. Then the plant works on those plastics and separates them out into your PET, which is your water bottles, HDP, which is your milk bottles, polypropylene, pots, tubs, trays, those kinds of things.
The machines are able to detect the different types of plastics, or polymers, separate them and squashes them down into bales.
And so here at Rochester, what we look to do is absolutely recycle everything that comes in here. What does come in here, though, isn't all recyclable materials. So we end up at a figure of about 80% is actually recycled because it's recyclable.
What's the worst thing that you've ever found on a conveyor belt?
We get a lot of different items coming into the site. Probably the most unpleasant are nappies. So what we would ask residents is to think about what you're looking to recycle and put the right things into the right bin.
Or not a nice thought when you think some of the sorting involves sifting by hand.
Let me show you what the end product is, as you were asking us outside. So here we've got some of the flake material, and then they sell this on to turn it back into water bottles. And these are effectively from the milk bottles you saw outside, and then they go in to be turned back into milk bottles, and they replace virgin materials.
But there's still one more question. Can Ed be the one to tell Sarah where she should put her moisturiser bottle?
Can this be recycled?
Let me have a look. Ideally, from your point of view, you'd want to be able to take the plastic top off if it's different. But again, I think the message needs to be, if you put this material into the right bin, so the right stuff in the right bin comes to me, then it has the best chance of being recycled, rather than putting it into your rubbish bin.
So not even Ed is entirely sure if the bottle can be recycled. But although recycling plastic can be confusing, the message from Viridor is clear. If in doubt, put your plastic into the recycling bin rather than in your rubbish bin.